All right, hey, it's another one of these videos. Power Wash Simulator 2 just dropped, and I have like over 160 hours in the first game. So my addiction is back to this game, which as to what that's going to do to my productivity, that's something I'm going to have to find out. But I did just kind of want to talk about the game that is YouTube. If you don't know exactly what I mean, then you're not a YouTuber. You might have heard YouTubers talk about it every now and then, but if you do YouTube professionally, or you try to at least, and you're starting out, then you'll know exactly what that means. But just so that we're all on the same page, what I mean by the game of YouTube is pretty much trying to play the system so that way you can optimize how much your content is getting recommended, getting pushed out to new viewers, how your videos are performing, the 1 out of 10 graph, and I'm sure you hear a lot about the YouTubers talk about. That shit. That's the game of YouTube. It's trying to optimize your content as much as possible so you can grow as fast as possible and make all the money you can or be as successful as you can by whatever metric that may be. And I kind of hate it. There are bits of it that I like because of my analytical nature. I like analyzing things, optimizing things to a certain extent, but not to the point where it gets in the way of the creativity. But I notice I tend to kind of forget that the creative side should always matter more, because that's what creates longevity in not only your content but your passion in that kind of content. A while ago, when I was just doing all those synced collabs, and that's kind of all I was doing for a while, like Road Rough House, Level Up, Kryptonite, Aerial Master, that era of Tenna 360, that kind of shit. Oh, pardon me, trying to burp. That was an era where, I mean, as I said in the last episode, I was younger, closer to my teenage years, and got a bit of an ego because of how successful all my shit was becoming. Relative to the stick figure community, of course. Like I wasn't Markiplier or PewDiePie or anything like that by any means. But they saw very great success within the community. It seemed like a lot of people wanted to participate in those, and I enjoyed synced collabs at the time, and people seem to also really be liking them. Synced collabs still do really well, just because of how rewatchable they are. But that's beginning to think about it from the game side of YouTube and not the passion side. I think you can pretty clearly tell. I think it was after Aerial Master or the Imitator Tribute that I really ended up. The fuck? I have idle animations now. Fuck you. I don't know what. It's fine. God, I don't know. What was I talking about? I forgot. That distracted me. My ADHD ass. Oh yeah, about the collabs. I kind of stopped caring about improving my craft after a bit, and just kept creating the same thing over and over again. And as I made more and more, some of my frequent participants also kind of picked up on it, being like, "Yeah, this isn't really fun anymore," especially with how frequent it was becoming. Like, especially when you compare it to what Shuriken did, where he spent pretty much every waking moment crafting a masterpiece, and he didn't even like doing it. The cherry on top. But that is like pure art. I feel like it's art in its most pure form. But I kind of gamified it. I knew they were doing well. I knew people liked it, so I kept pushing them out. I found one formula that worked, and then didn't really change it very much. Maybe occasionally in small areas. But I kind of kept doing the same thing until the 360 collab, when I kind of had a big wake-up call, and realized I was just kind of doing the same shit and wasn't happy with what I was making anymore. And the reason I talk about this is because that keeps coming back every now and then. It's not that I, like, it's not that I don't appreciate what I'm doing. It's that I get so lost in the success and the numbers and the metrics and all that shit that I tend to forget why I enjoyed it in the first place and why other people liked it. I've always kind of operated under the ideology that if you enjoy making your content, then people can tell. They always do. They can always tell if you really care about your craft, because then they're going to want to watch more of it. But then once you just start doing the same shit just because it's working, and they can tell you're just starting to play the game of YouTube, you know, they may not know that's what's happening, but they can feel it. They understand it. Like, the audience is not stupid. And I feel like some YouTubers really think that it's just a big game of psychology. And there are some big psychological aspects of content creation and packaging, mostly, like how a thumbnail is presented, the titles that you choose. They just introduced ABC title testing, which means that within the first however long YouTube deems it necessary, they're pretty vague about it, but however long it takes, they will be serving out up to 3 different titles, and you compare them with 3 different thumbnails, pardon me, to see which title and thumbnail convinces the most people to watch. And that really tells you, or that YouTube's, by doing that, YouTube is telling you to really try and break down what's going to catch people's eyes. Really try and figure out the psychology of what people are going to want to click. Which, like, I have found that it's not as bad as it sounds. There is a negative aspect that I try not to think about, or I try not to apply to my thumbnails. Like, you'll never see me outright clickbait in a thumbnail, and you'll never see me resort to dirty tactics just to try and convince people to watch a video. But the DojoCast thumbnails are all made by me. I do all of them, from concept sketch to final polish. All of those thumbnails are from my little brain. And I get some feedback, of course, but it is 99% me. And I try my best to make sure those thumbnails and the title and the packaging of our episodes are as accurate as possible. It can get a little tricky, like with the Goku episode, which I really hate because of the packaging. That was an episode where we had an idea, we built the packaging around it, and then didn't properly talk about it during the episode, because we plan about it beforehand, and then we don't actually know what's going to happen during the episode. And I think it was like right after that episode happened, you know, we've been trying to like kind of gamify YouTube a bit on the DojoCast. I won't lie, I've been kind of spearheading that. But then like I realized, like, when it happened again. I realized when I start to gamify YouTube and play their game, I begin to like it less. And then the views and the other metrics start to suffer as well. And so I brought that up in one of our meetings, and, you know, Stone and Sarkiel, and they're all like, yeah, we agree. I think we should just try and focus on being much more ourselves again, because that's what people originally came for. But yeah, it was the exact same thing. I got lost in the success of a project, tried to machinify it, if that makes sense, and then in doing so kind of lost what it was about. So I don't know if you've noticed recently, but we're kind of just like boiling it down to the main 4, me, Hyun, Stone, and Loonsar, and we're kind of holding off guest interviews for a little bit until the views on the channel overall continue to go back up like they were on the dojo. Because, you know, we don't want to have to waste those opportunities to talk to people just for the fewest amount of people to watch them. Those are the episodes that we really, really care about. We care about all of them, but those more so in specific, because I at least find a lot more value in those episodes, because it offers an insight into someone's eyes and perspective that we never would have gotten anywhere else, you know. And we have like Garrett the Carrot. I've been talking to him ever since we were talking at VidCon. I've been talking to him about getting him on the DojoCast, and, you know, scheduling with him was originally pretty tricky. And then I stopped asking him, and I'm assuming he took that as like oh, this guy's impossible to schedule with, I'm just going to stop asking. No, that wasn't the case. I talked about it to him today, actually. And I was like, yeah, no, we're not doing guest episodes for a little bit until those views get back up. But like, I don't want him to come on the podcast, talk about himself and his insights and share, his story, just for as few people to see it as possible. And I feel like that's unfortunately what happened to Pymations. His episode underperformed dramatically. I don't know. It's tricky to talk about the performance of videos like that or episodes like that and not make it feel like I'm still playing the game. I still am to some extent, but I can't be following it purely by the numbers. I can't let the numbers strangle the vision of the project, if that makes sense. And I noticed that often happens, and I've again caught myself almost doing that to collabs. And that is something that I really don't want to happen again. I've already done it once with the synced collabs, which is, that's why I've very heavily decreased the amount that I'm doing synced content. It's because I don't want to gamify it and then hate it again. I don't hate them currently, but I just don't. I don't want to do them as often as I used to. That was like a hyperfixation of the past. Yeah, I just don't want that to happen to collabs again. I'll still be really heavily focusing on collabs because that is what does well on my channel, and that's what I'm really good at. But if you've kept up to date on rock, paper, scissors at all, even the last video that I posted on this channel, I told you about like the scope of this next project, and that's coming all out of passion. I know once that collab releases, it's going to be like 50 minutes long, and it's going to, I'm betting right now, it's going to perform terribly on YouTube, mostly because of how long it is. That is a recipe for disaster. But I don't care, because the idea that I have, and the reason why I'm extending it out to be almost a movie, is because I'm really in love with the idea, and I'm just kind of hoping that my love for the project is going to be what makes it more successful than I'm anticipating. I mean, I don't know. It was a little demotivating when Bing Bong Ball was as successful as it was. Pardon me again. My apologies. I just ate. I don't know. It like, of course, I still really like the collab. It's super fun to watch. I understand why it's highly viewed. But it kind of hit the algorithm in a way that I don't think any collab of mine has ever been hit before. Like even Big Ol' Sync Joint, while yeah, that is my most viewed video, it was more of a slow burn than most. It was still more successful than the most, but Bing Bong Ball spiked up and shot above my expectations like crazy. And that's kind of what scared me, because that one took, outside of pre-production, and the hosting time, I think it took about 3 weeks to get it done and finished and uploaded, maybe less, I'd even say. So, and here I am spending well over a year on rock, paper, scissors, just kind of hoping people will like it. And again, like I keep having to talk myself down, being like, you can't be too caught up in how it might perform, because then that's going to... Did they just add a bee sound effect? That's miserable. Why would they do that? Anyway. Because that's going to affect my vision and scope of the project. And then whether I realize it or not, it's going to affect the final output. Which, that's definitely something I don't want to risk. Alright. I don't know. The game of YouTube is... It can be fun if your brain is kind of built for the nerd shit, but you can't let it overwrite your love for the project, your love for the art. And I feel like I have to keep reminding myself of that, because it's like constantly conflicting. Like, I love looking at those analytics, and I love looking at the nerd numbers, but when I focus too much on that, then I start to lose. Not only lose views, but lose my passion that I have for it, yada yada. It's interesting, but like, I also want this to be extremely successful. So that's the other part of it, is of course I want to optimize it for as big of a success as it can possibly be. So if I just release it with an artistic title, artistic thumbnail, and release the video as is, include like 3 minutes of credits at the end, a long ass intro, no one's gonna care. No one's gonna watch that. And I've kind of like, I have applied some gamified version of YouTube to some of my projects. Like Big Ol' Sync Joint was impacted in the way that there are no credits. There's no credit sequence at the end. There are credits, of course. There's the names in the corner of the screen. There's the music credit in the very beginning that shows up in the corner. And that's kind of all you need to know. And you know, Entity, who animated the big ending part, love him to death. Incredible animator. You know, wrote his little name in the ending shot of the like, you know, like the end title screen where it says Boss J or Big Ol' Sync Joint, and he wrote down Enti's here. Like, I'm totally fine with that. Like, he deserves that shit. He pretty much wrapped up the entire experience, and I think his entry is a big reason why it was successful. Anyway, getting a little off topic there. Just really appreciative of the people who participate in my work. But yeah, I intentionally decided not to have any kind of credit sequence whatsoever. Like, as soon as the fight was done, it was done. And that did exactly what I thought it would do to the video's performance, is because people would always watch through the ending because of how high energy it was and how well animated it was. That would tell YouTube, hey, people are watching through the entire video. They're watching through almost 100% of the video. My what is it called? My retention on that video is higher than I think almost any other video on my channel, because it does two things really well. It's short. It keeps your attention. Okay, sorry. I'm gonna list off a few things. I don't know if it's two, but it's short. It starts off immediately, gives you a very brief introduction, the absolute minimum amount of information required to understand the video. It's constant action. The style changes help keep engagement up because they're watching a bunch of different styles and they're getting a bunch of eye candy because of it. And then once that big grand ending finishes, it's done. It's done. Maybe 1 or 2 seconds just to allow you to read the end screen and let the music die out. But that's it. That's the whole video. And that, you know, that tells YouTube, because people watch through the whole thing, hey, people are watching this longer than usual. Let's continue to push it out to more people. And then, you know, it's just kind of a ripple effect. You know, that's one of the only videos where my view graph is just like a straight line. Usually on my channel, I'll release a video. It'll have a spike for the first 2 to 7 days usually, and then it'll kind of flatline there. It'll still idle and get a moderate amount of views. But like it's pretty much dead at that point. No new viewers are going to watch it. There's going to be people coming back, but not many new people being introduced to it. Because, you know, they weren't optimized for YouTube. So Big Ol' Sync Joint is a video that really played the YouTube game well, but it's also one of the videos that I am most proud of. I don't think like that is top 3 videos on my channel. I don't know if I'd say it's my favorite. I think in my tier list I did put it at number 1. But I don't know if I'd say it's my favorite. I still think Stuntman 3 is my favorite of all. But that one was not very well optimized. Mostly the packaging, man. The packaging on Stuntman 3 is terrible, and I tried changing the title a bit, and it really is not having the impact that I wanted it to have, so I might end up just changing it back. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to change that one too much, just because I kind of want to let it be a piece of its time, but I also kind of want more people to see it and see all the awesome work and creations that people put into it. I don't know. It's also like a mental battle, especially when you're having other artists pour their heart into work for your video. You don't want to have to gamify their work for your benefit. And I don't want it to seem like it's for my benefit. Yes, I enjoy seeing the numbers go up. Who doesn't? But I really just want more people to see it. I want my videos to do extremely well on YouTube, not for my sake, but so that I can be offered a higher position. No, how do I want to say that? That sounds weird. I want. I mean, I said it in the last video, I think. I just want people to watch my shit so that people are like, oh, Hatena released a video, let's watch it, and not like, oh, this title is catchy and the thumbnail looks interesting, let's watch it. I want to use my platform to offer everyone else a platform of their own to start. Because that is like the main thing I'm known for. I'm known for my collaborations, and I want to use that as much as I can for the benefit of everyone except for me. I don't know if YouTube's going to become a full-time thing on my channel. Yeah, I don't know. I think there would be some benefit to that, but I really like working for Alan. But I would love to be in a position where my videos just get pushed out there because it's a Hatena 360 collab or Hatena 360 animation, and not because my packaging is convincing them to watch my shit, you know? I think that's kind of what everyone wants. This is getting very off topic, but I've also considered, I think I talked about this on the DojoCast too, but I have been heavily considering submitting my collaborations to animation festivals. Stom, a good friend of mine, has really started like, he hasn't been like nagging me about it. He like mentioned it a few times, and then I just haven't stopped thinking about it because I think that would be so fucking cool. Because that's like another great way to get new people to watch your shit. Not my collabs, but to watch your parts of my collabs. Because what happens when someone who's never seen your shit before, when they watch one of the collabs, they're going to be thinking, oh, I really liked this part. They're not going to be thinking, wow, Hatena made a really good collaboration. I like that guy. And that's the last thing I'd ever want anyone to take away from one of my videos. If that ever happens, I feel like I've failed. Because the collaborations are all about the people who participate in them. Yeah, the moment that I lose that and that people aren't seeing that, if I lose that, then I'm doing something wrong. And if people start seeing that, then I need to change what I'm doing to make sure it's as focused as possible on the people participating in my work. You know, I'm giving a platform. I'm trying my best to provide a platform at the very least. I shouldn't be the star of that platform. So, I don't know. That might be something that I'm worried about happens when it's like a quote-unquote Hatena 360 collab. You know, like the potential mindset of people being like, oh, hey, Hatena released a collab, let's watch it. And I think some people kind of already do. I always want the main focal point to be, oh, let's watch this collab because I'm going to see some new animations and some new styles, some new creators that I might like and want to follow and support. And if not, I don't know. If it doesn't do that, I've failed. You know? I don't know. I think, yeah. I'll try and bring this back to the whole YouTube game thing. I hate the overall gamification of YouTube. This platform used to really just solely be about the passion that people have for their content and not how they're packaging it, convincing people to watch it. Like, I was watching Mumbo Jumbo, a popular Minecraft YouTuber who's been on the platform for forever. You know, one of the Hermitcraft guys. And he was saying, like, YouTube used to be a place where, like, it was much more subscription feed-based, where you'd be able to release part, like, 30 of a Minecraft series, and then everyone would watch it. All the people who subscribe to you would likely watch it. But now YouTube has just become so far away from that if you do anything like that, it's going to actively dissuade people from watching your content. Because they're going to see part 50 of the Minecraft series, and then they're not going to watch it because they're going to be like, oh, am I missing context? I don't want to watch this if I'm going to be missing context. Like, is this an episodic kind of thing, or is it a serialized kind of thing? And the moment that people start thinking too much about the idea of watching your content, that's where you lose a lot of viewers. Man. So, like, I love to, you know, like, let's take Stuntman, for example. I still don't know if I'm going to do Stuntman 4. But if I do I even call it Stuntman 4? Because if I do call it Stuntman 4, people might feel the need to watch Stuntman 1 through 3. And that is you are dedicating a large amount of time to watch those. Because number 3 is like 40 minutes long, something like that. Number 1 and 2 are about 40 minutes long in total. It's already an hour and a half of your time. Pardon me. And so people see number 4 releases, and it's like another 40, 50 minutes maybe. Then they're gonna be like, "Oh, that's already another hour potentially on top of the hour and a half that I have to watch in order to get caught up." And then that's going to cause people not to watch it, but I want people to watch it. But then it is Stuntman 4. It's the 4th in the series, and to not call it the 4th would just be weird. And that, I feel like that's kind of ruining the art in a way. So that's the sort of stuff that I'm having to think about now. I'm trying to like make the best of both worlds. I want to still satisfy the creative options that I have, but I don't want to sacrifice that. I'm having to make some sacrifices, admittedly, but I'm trying to find a really good compromise in order to continue creating the way that I create. You know, I don't want the content itself to be fundamentally changed, and even though it's just the title, like Stuntman 4 would be weird if it wasn't called Stuntman 4. Like, even if people knew it was called Stuntman 4, it would be off that it wasn't called that, you know? I don't know. That could be this could be something where I'm, like, way too overthinking it, you know? Who knows? Yeah. I don't know. This is stuff that I've been thinking about a lot, especially over the last year or two. Maybe more. But it's just trying to find that right balance of playing the game of YouTube, so that way you can, you know, have as many people see your shit as possible, while at the same time keeping that creative control and creative integrity intact. You know, you don't want to sacrifice that of all things, because that's the meat of the video. While the packaging is, of course, incredibly important to the success of a video, if the video itself is terrible, the packaging doesn't even fucking matter at that point. People say that the most important part of a video is its thumbnail. I completely disagree. The most important part of the video is the video. It is 100% the video. Because if you have a great thumbnail and you click on that thumbnail and it's the worst fucking video you've ever seen, that video's not going to perform well. Who gives a shit? But yeah, of course the packaging is still important, as always. But if the video itself is terrible, no one's going to watch that shit. Alright, I think I'm just repeating myself at this point, so I think we've gotten to the point where I stop recording, upload it, and then see what you all think. This one's become a bit of a longer ramble, but I hope you like it. Let me know if you like these kinds of videos. But I'm not going to care if you do or don't. I'm just going to upload when I want to upload on this channel. I think I've made that decision. So some days it might be like Lethal Company clips, or like a shorter clips video like the stick figures one I did a while ago. Or, you know, sometimes it might just be like I ramble while I play some video game kind of thing, like this and the last one. Sometimes it might be like a clip from my streams. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is going to be the channel where I don't care too much or at all about the packaging. This is the channel for you guys, the people who are actually wanting to watch this shit. For the people who've gotten this far into the fucking video and you're still wanting more of this shit. This is the channel for you guys. I'd say the main channel is for the wider audience stuff. This channel is for the people who like me and want to watch the shit that I make, because they like me. I don't know. Now that sounds like a little like I'm becoming a little cocky, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. I want to release the shit that I want to release on this channel without overthinking everything. So I'm going to be thinking a lot more about this channel. I mean, I would say very soon, but I already am. So yeah, you'll probably end up seeing a lot more videos, maybe like this, maybe not like this. Who fucking knows? But yeah, thanks guys for watching. I guess I'll see you whenever I do this again. Bye.